Of course.
Of course.
All right. So here we are. I'm actually going to grab a drink after that fierce and horrible battle. We played 1754 live. So this is the breakdown. This is where we kind of talk about what happened. While Aurora Tea Garden, is it?
Yeah.
Aurora Tea Garden.
Aurora Tea Garden plays in the background. If you are not used to our channel, we are a very family-oriented channel, and we just play it like it's normal, like you would in your own house. But the thing is, we're going to talk about what just happened. We just played. Mike won. He was the Indians and the French.
No, the French and the Canadians.
The French and the Canadians.
I was the Indians a lot of the time too, but yes.
Yes, and the British were repelled once again. Academy games. Have you played a bad Academy game?
No, they are really hitting it out of the park, I think. I mean, they have really gone into the wargaming genre and have brought into something that's so different. When I talked about Conflict of Heroes from Academy games, and this kind of fits in that same way, where it's a great intro to wargaming, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not rule heavy at all. And it is really great to really get into wargaming.
Yeah, the Birth of America series is a very interesting series. This plays a lot like 1775, except the forts come into play
right.
a bit. But they kept you from going places. Like, there were some areas I wanted to go and start to expand and try to take a few areas. But because the forts were there, I just didn't want to go through there. And there were other things that kind of deterred me. And then, of course, we got into a whole battle over here, which was ugly because you had two
double victory points there.
Victory points there, and slowly you crept over there. But I just couldn't get over there to defend that front, and it just became a mess. I like this a lot. This. If I had to put this in my top 100, it'd go up pretty high pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think almost every Academy game would be at least in my top 30. There's not one that I don't like. And this series here is just spectacular. Justin and I played the 1775, I think,
right.
or 76
75, yeah, it's right before
right
it's the start of the Revolutionary War, right?
And it was so good.
Yeah,
so good. And by saying it was so good, I mean, again, it was a game that was so balanced that it just came down to 1 or 2 victory points. At first when I was reading about the truce cards, I go, well, of course I'm going to play the truce cards if I have a couple ahead. You really have to be smart about how you play your truce cards.
You do. And the really tricky part with the truce card is it's a move card, but it's not. If you were to get, say, 2 events in your hand and the truce card, you could discard those and reshuffle and get 3 new ones, but you would give up that very strategic card of helping end or prolong the game. Mm-hmm. So I really think that those truce cards, by having the movement attached to them, it's kind of like, man, if that's my only move, I really would love to do that as opposed to getting rid of it, because ultimately you'd love it if you always had the truce card and another move, and you can play that truce whenever you want to, so that you can control to some degree when the game ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think, I guess they got the Viking one coming next, which should
right.
be really interesting, and add a few things. But the reinforcements, the way it work, everything is just so mechanically smooth and perfect. I mean, and the Indians, the Native Americans come in, they really do play a role here. They're not just in the background. You get them to jump in with you, that's great, but if they got some too, then they cancel each other out because they're just not going to fight each other.
Right. So, and I really like how it's random where they appear based upon how we are down in the track.
Yeah,
so,
how you pull it out.
Right. So you can't even really plan to muster a native army. It's just kind of organically happens, which I think is really cool too. So when you're trying to plan out your moves, all of a sudden you had a force of 3, now you have a force of 6. So immediately you jump into a whole new strategy going in with how you play. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah, and the other thing is the rule book is so clean.
Oh.
It's just so easy. I mean, we were able to go through it in about 10 minutes.
Yep.
Because we actually had 10 minutes because we got everything set up because we were worried about the length of the board getting into the camera, and it was a piece of cake.
Yep.
I mean, this is a great game. And I tell you, for a miniature market, if I had to rate this game, I've got to give this a 4.5 out of 5.
I agree. I mean, it's really neat. Also, how like you talked about with the reinforcements. I think at the beginning of the game, both the yellow player and the white player get to place one of these mustering tokens, and I think that really is going to dictate your strategy, because if you look at how the game ended, you had both of your mustering tokens there, you dominated, or your main front was here, both of mine are over here, my main front was over here, so...
Yeah, so you were able to move better, where it'd probably make more sense to have one there, and I should have
try to get one on the
other side.
On the other side, right.
I just didn't do that.
But again, that little depth of strategy there, when you do a replay of this, it can radically change how you go and what your strategy is when you go and what fronts that you really want to take on. Because like you said, with the purple, all of his victory points are way up in the north of Canada. So if I could keep you here, you're really denied a lot of victory points there without having ability to, because you bring in the white from the bottom to the top. And the other thing that would be interesting is how this played with 4. Because with right now, you and I didn't have to negotiate with...
I think it would have been longer.
It definitely would be longer, and it's going to be trickier, I think, because because clearly the white and the yellow are a bit less powerful in battle than the regulars. So you'd have to convince the guy you're playing with there, hey, every time we go into battle, you're dying first. And you just keep letting me, So I think that definitely would be...
But the fun thing about being that weaker part is you get, especially since they flee a lot, you get like this massive army, and you can just start wreaking havoc.
Plus, both of their card decks have events that add synergies with the natives to where they can bring them back in at certain times, or they can work with them. So I think that they definitely are much more in tune with the natives than the regular. So like you said, so balanced, but yet they play style on those 4 different players would be very different.
Right.
I think a different feeling to who you played.
Right. This is a classic.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
It's a great game.
It just doesn't get any easier, and we're gonna have to play the rest of the Birth of Americas.
Right.
Let's have that Strike of the Eagle too. That we haven't even tried yet.
And again, we were talking about it also. This game, they've actually recently come out with an expansion for this game that actually focuses on the Native Americans and gives them even more to do, and they're involved even deeper into the game. So that would be interesting to see how that'd
be really interesting to see how that all plays
adds
out.
flavor to it as well. Yep.
There you go. All right. So I think we summed it all up. I'm going to. Here's the treaty cards that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And when you play these, that's pretty much the end of the game.
Yeah, all 4 of them have to come out.
Really just an interesting way of the way it all pans out. Well, that's it for me. I'm Rob.
And Mike.
And we will see you guys soon after our next live play, as we will be doing the breakdown each and every time afterwards. So we will catch you later.
See you.